These are 15 things you're going to need to know if you're playing Apex in Season 20. Now, I have covered the broader changes in previous uploads, but in this video, I want to go a little bit more into the finer details and obviously show some of the gameplay so it makes a lot more sense. Let's get into it. Number 1, the mixtape playlist will not include the new armor and the new legend perk system. For now, it seems like it'll just be the normal old Apex in the mixtape mode. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if in the future they implement these mechanics into the mixtape mode, but for now, I think regarding balancing and seeing how it plays out, they've left them separate. So do keep that in mind for Season 20. If you're used to playing mixtape, there are going to be some significant gameplay changes, even more so than there already were when you hop into the Battle Royale mode, whether that's ranked or unranked. Number 2, all of the fortified legends, along with Pathfinder and Revenant, all have smoother movement animations. So when you're now running, sliding, jumping with Caustic, Gibby, or Newcastle, you honestly feel like you're on a legend like Wraith. This was a huge reason why a lot of players didn't play these bigger legends, because they thought that they were slower. And even if they knew they weren't actually slower, the animations made them feel very slow and clunky. Well, no longer is that the case. I was actually pleasantly surprised with how good this felt on the fortified legends, but I do have to say I didn't notice a huge difference with Pathfinder or Revenant, but I can tell you it's a nice change for this season. Number 3, Evo caches are a new rare loot item that contain raw Evo upgrades. These are going to award you a full level when you collect them. So whether you're on blue, purple, or whatever, it'll get you to that next Evo armor. But they're only going to be found in rare places. Most likely you'll find them off of game drops, but you'll also be able to access them through loot vaults if they have those on the map that you're playing on. But keep in mind, if you're already at max level, so red armor, you'll not be able to pick up this cache. And another thing, this is only for the player that interacts with the Evo cache. This is different than one of the other mechanics in the game. So if your buddy beats you to the care package, he's going to get the upgrade and not you. Number 4, Evo harvesters are what will upgrade your whole team's armor. It'll give you 350 points towards your next upgrade. So you may or may not completely upgrade depending on where you're at in the match. Now, these are going to spawn into every BR map with a delayed activation during the first ring. This will allow players time to loot up before trying to seek them out and probably try to over-abuse them. Any squad member can interact with these and they will award you a large amount of these Evo points. Now, this is different than the Evo cache because it affects your whole team. Number 5. Now, an interesting aspect that I didn't think was really covered or clear in the patch notes is when you upgrade your armor through an Evo harvester or an Evo cache, you won't have to heal the armor like you have in the past. So if you remember, if you upgraded your Evo armor through damage, you'd have to pop a cell. But now, whether you interact with one of the Evo items or you level up your armor through damage or any of the other ways, this will automatically heal up that extra bar of shield for you. Now, it'll take some time. It's seconds. I don't have the exact number, but you no longer have to spend that extra shield cell on healing up your full armor as long as you aren't starting from, 0. So this won't apply if you're fully cracked and you level up your armor, right? But it will apply if you go from white to blue, like I'm showing in this clip here. Number 6, when you add an extra shield core from shield swapping, just keep in mind it's temporary. So if you had a blue armor and you grab a purple, that extra 25 HP in your shield will be temporary for 30 seconds. It's very similar to how Conduit's tactical works. But this is also interesting when you think about it from the reverse. Let's say you had a blue armor, it gets cracked, and you want to downgrade and swap to a white armor in the box because, well, that's all that's there. Good. Go ahead and grab that white armor because you're still going to actually keep your blue armor. It'll just be only shielded up to that 50 HP marker. You don't change around how much more damage or how much more Evo points you need until you get that next upgrade. So it's a really new, interesting concept. In the past, when you shield swapped, you not only picked up that armor, but wherever that armor was at in terms of its next leveling up phase, you basically had to own that unless you went back and, picked up your old armor and healed that. Now going forward, it doesn't matter. You're going to be stuck at that same number, regardless if you downgrade on a swap or upgrade on a swap. But there are some nuances that I think are important, and it will take some time to get used to. It gets a little confusing, but I hope that clarifies some things. Number 7. I know this was covered in the patch notes, but obviously Big Mod is changing since all of the crafting and the replicators have been changed. So players can now get one weapon per game, and these weapons are free. However, it's going to take a good amount of time, probably 10 to 15 seconds for that weapon to come out of the vending machine. Now, Loba can still grab a weapon through her black market, and there will be an increased variety of weapons to choose from, but gold weapons have been completely removed. So take advantage of landing mod, and if you can, I tried to land in that room because there are some weapons that spawn on the ground, so you can grab one of those, quickly interact with one of the vending machines, and if nobody's around you, you'll have time to then grab that extra weapon with the ammo that it also spawns, and then run upstairs or move on to Lava City or wherever. But it's a pretty good POI, and I ultimately think this is a huge upgrade for Big Mod, so watch out for that. Number 8, on Lifeline's self-revive upgrade, which yes, if you didn't know, she's able to have a self-revive if she wants it, but keep in mind, you can only use this once per match. But if you paired this with her first upgrade, where she can choose if she wants to res 20% faster, for some reason, these two abilities do not seem to stack on top of one another. I did hear creators originally saying that they would stack, and so if you had chosen the 20% faster revive and then the self-revive, you would get both. But I tested this in the firing range, and the revive was the same speed either way. So be on the lookout if this changes in the future, because I'm not sure if this is a bug or if it's working as intended and people were just incorrect about how it's gonna work. Number 9, speaking of Lifeline, because Evo armors do not spawn on the ground anymore and only on players, there are no longer any armors in Lifeline's care package, and that includes gold armor. Yes, for now, gold armor has been removed, but I do expect Apex will bring this back in the future as they navigate these big changes. Instead of what you'll get in Lifeline's care packages are probably more shield batteries or smart loot. A weapon attachment or some extra healing items. I did have a Lifeline on my team, and I played as Lifeline, and for the most part, it seemed like just extra heals and, some extra attachments. So depending on how you want to look at this could be a nerf to Lifeline, but I don't believe it to be too big of one given her kit overall, and there are rumors that she is getting reworked in the future, so we'll just kind of have to stay tuned and monitor that. Number 10, Mirage can have 2 decoys out at the same time. That is one of his second upgrades. But keep in mind that you're not able to control both of these decoys at the same time. You're only able to control one decoy. I don't know why this is a thing, because it seems a bit silly that if he was able to have 2 out, that they could both be controlled, but that is not the case right now. And I feel like that's something players should know, especially if they're playing Mirage or they end up going up against a Mirage. Number 11, on some of these other legends that are able to have 2 tactical charges, legends like Mad Maggie and Ash, you are able to stack these and basically use one right after the other, but it will depend on when you use the first one. And keep in mind, if you're in the firing range and you quickly switch to a legend, you select that legend upgrade, you're not going to be able to spam them real quick because the cooldown is like negative from when you switch to legend. I know that sounds a little confusing, but I want you to know that it will be different in game, because by the time you get that second upgrade where you're able to select a second tactical charge if you want it, there shouldn't be a reset on your cooldown. Now, depending on when you use that first one or when you used your last tactical, there may be a few seconds in between your first and your second charge, but for the most part, you will be able to use these back to back if you want to. Number 12. I've seen a lot of confusion about this, and I tried to cover it in my last video, but I'll just try to be abundantly clear here. Yes, they rolled out the 120 FPS update for the next-gen consoles, but if you enable this, which they're calling performance mode in the game settings, you will have less aim assist. So it'll go down from the 0.6 to 0.4. Now 0.4 is what controller players who play on PC naturally get. So you get a trade-off, less aim assist, more FPS. I personally am a big fan of this, and once you get used to it, it shouldn't be a big deal. But if you don't play with performance mode on, then I assume you'll be staying on that 0.6 aim assist value. And if you're not on the next gen console, the same thing applies. You'll be on 0.6. Now, the 0.4 applies regardless if you're in a console lobby or you play with your PC buddy and he brings you into the PC crossplay lobbies. That should clear up everything regarding the FPS update and the aim assist values that change. Number 13, you may have seen the recent change where Apex has tried to finally combat players who like to sit in the zone and just heal so they can get placement. Some players were commenting saying, wow, if I have to, avoid a team because I'm getting gatekept, I don't want to be punished for that. That's not really what's going to happen. So basically you have around 5-ish minutes where you can be in the zone. then they will give you a warning. And that warning will be a 60-second countdown for when the game will just kill you for being in the zone. So do not stress if you have to late rotate one game, or a team's trying to hold you out, you have to go an alternate route that's going to take a while. As long as you haven't been sitting in the gas and camping for minutes on end trying to survive, this change shouldn't affect you. It should only benefit you so that you don't get random teammates who want to solo launch and camp for placement to get a rank that they don't even deserve. Oh my god. All right, number 14. Number 14, if you're watching this during the beginning of the season, ranked will be incredibly sweaty and probably unbalanced for the first couple weeks. The reason being is because they have reverted ranked back to the older days where it's RP based, it's really focused on kills and placement, and they've reset everyone to 1 RP. So everybody's starting at rookie 4, there's no hidden MMR, and so that means that you could genuinely be a brand new rookie 4 player and you're playing against TSM Imperial Hal, right? That will happen until these players get to the ranks that they're supposed to be in. So early on, just keep that in mind, but over time, I strongly believe that this rank system will be 100 times better than what we had for the last 3 seasons. Make sure you're subscribed because I will be covering ranked more in depth and give you a ton of tips and tricks on how you can rank up this season. Number 15, the store tab has been completely revamped. And honestly, the coolest part about this is that there are now 4 recolors that you can choose from that you're able to use your legend tokens for. Now, it looks like there are 8 listed, but it's actually only 4. You can see the top section are the recolors and the bottom section are the base skins. But if you've been playing Apex for a while, then you'll know that they only used to release 2 recolor options every 4 to 6 days. So now we have 4. So it's an upgrade. And honestly, if you're interested in finding some skins that you may have missed out on in the past, there is a plethora here. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching, and please comment down below who you think the best and the worst legend is this season. I may feature you in my next upload. Peace!